Hello, welcome, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this Episode 7, Part 2 of Kaz's Fighter Jet Roundtable Tournament. It's been a bit of time since Part 1, but we're finally ready to get into Part 2 and see who will be going on to the semifinals from this second batch of the Round of 8. So, without any kind of further ado, let's go ahead and zoom on into the round table and the watchtower and see what kinds of aircraft we have in store for you all today. So before I go ahead and get started with this, you'll have to bear with me. I recently upgraded my PC to Windows 10 and I've been working with the sound settings. So if anything sounds a little funny, let me know. I'm doing the best that I can, but making my way through things is proving to be just a wee bit difficult. In any case, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at Team A over here. This aircraft, well, as you may have been able to guess by the name, is in fact the F-16 Wannabe, sent in by none other than Pizza Pie. Someone who, I don't know if they've sent in anything yet. So let's go ahead and look at this aircraft. It does very much look like an F-16, except for the fact that the wheels are very tiny and at a bit of an angle. It is a single-engine fighter running with a single enemy Product 30 engine, and carrying a loadout of 6 missiles. Looks like we've got 4 AIM-120D radar-guided and 2 AIM-9X Sidewinders. So this is going for a little bit more of a realistic weapon loadout. Also got a ECM jammer here in the tail. And again, that big, traditional, large F-16 style tail looks very nice, using the F-16, well, the closest cockpit to the F-16, anyway, in the mod pack. I didn't notice if it had any, again, using the AESA radar. Don't see any IEWS, so it'll be a little less stealthy than perhaps one might initially think. Either way, looks to be a fairly solid aircraft. It definitely does look like an F-16. Very cool, very nice. It's nice to see some traditional style aircraft being submitted. Very, very cool. Anyway, thank you, Pizza Pie. Also, it only has what appears to be 1 Vulcan, so not a whole lot of forward firepower there with the guns, so very much more of a model than a purely competitive aircraft, but you never know, maybe it'll surprise everybody. Either way, let's go ahead and get on to Team B and see what they have in store for us. And over here on Team B, we have the FJRT-2 Wraith, sent in by Jay Skellington. I happen to know, according to them, they were inspired by the Klingon Bird of Prey for the wing design and layout of this aircraft. You can kind of see it there, actually, if you're familiar with that design of spacecraft at all. Interesting looking gun layout. Looks to be 2 of the Russian-style 30mm guns in here. And it is, in fact, that. Very interesting. That'll be cool. Some solid fire power there. Looks like it has a battery here for just a little extra electric charge. Most of these aircraft don't actually have a strong need for that, mostly because they have alternators in the engines. Again, when I looked at this, I found it difficult to find an IEWS, so I don't believe it has one, which, not a problem. You're not required to put that in. Either way. Also, a very radar-heavy build here, it looks like. It's got a couple aphids there, a Meteor missile, and an Archer air-to-air missile. I think the Archer and the Aphid are both heat-seeking, and I believe the Meteor, in fact, I know the Meteor is a radar-guided missile. So this aircraft looks to be quite speedy, especially the fact that it is a tri-jet. It's got a 117S turbo engine for the main engine and 2 trimmed down in size, tweak scaled, product 30 engines. Interesting. Most people would end up going with Tigers. However, I can see the benefit of going for this. Just going for the outright power, not having to worry about the extra fuel. Also, the dual air brakes looking very nice, very sleek, and of course that NMB cockpit. So, we've seen both of the competitors for round 1 here, and let's go ahead and get them into the skies, shall we? So we're back at the watchtower. Let's get these planes into the air, get them started. The engines are ready to go. The F-16 wannabes are a little bit heavy on the tail end of things. So, also seem to be having a little issue taking off compared to the Wraiths. Looks like they had their takeoff speed set for a little higher. They didn't seem to have any problem taking off when they were at speed, so perhaps that was what their main drawback was. Aircraft now flying around, Wraith being very high. We've seen that a higher initial starting point can actually lead to some kind of advantage in the initial fight. Both these aircraft seem to be moving in the same direction. I'm not quite sure if they're going to be able to get into position correctly at this point for the competition to start. So just to be safe, I'm going to go ahead and cancel that competition and start the competition to get them moving back into the right direction, hopefully. And with that, the competition is finally starting. Looks like the, sending those meteor missiles in at incredibly high speed. Meteors are very fast missiles. They are, however, taken out by the AIM-9Xs. Now let's go ahead and watch the F-16 wannabes here. See what these are. I mean, F-16s are some of the... Well, they are one of the only aircraft in the U.S. arsenal, in the more modern U.S. arsenal, I should say, that was designed specifically with dogfighting and aerial combat in mind. It is usually a very lightweight fighter. Very fast missiles here. Everything coming in. The F-16's lighting up one of those Wraiths with the Vulcans, or at least trying to. We have a missile strike. Engine gone off of this F-16. That is 100% not good. We are left with only this solo F-16 left. And looks like it has a missile coming in, an Archer missile. Not enough to track it effectively, however. Also, with that single engine, they will be a little on the slower side. Single Vulcan cannon trying to light up the enemy Wraith. Not doing particularly well. However, these aircraft, despite the fact that they are slow, do seem to be able to maneuver fairly well, to be quite honest. There's those Russian 30mm lighting up the back of the F-16 over here. That's not good. It will punch through, and we go into a spin. Not good. That'll likely be the end for the F-16 here. It's no engine, only one Vulcan, no missiles. I'd say it's definitely down and out. So, I guess that means that round 1 is going to go to the Wraiths. And we're back again for round 2. Round 1 going pretty quickly to the Wraiths there. This reminds me of good old StarCraft, Wraith awaiting launch orders. Either way, we're starting again for round 2 here. I'm going to actually wait until the F-16s are in the air, and then I'm going to cancel the competition and start the competition again, just to try and avoid the delay we had previously. Hopefully both aircraft will now try and focus on getting more distance between one another rather than what they were doing before, and we should see a much faster start to round 2 than we did for round 1. Definitely putting more distance, and there we go. Competition is starting. yet again. The Wraiths are the first to get their missiles off, and they're doing them with the meteor missiles. Look at how fast those meteors are zipping across the screen here. I don't know how well you all can see it at home, but this is outrageously fast. Meteor missiles are just so fast. Speed, they can get to speeds of something like Mach 4, I think. Uh-oh, we've had a collision of something over there. I didn't see what that was. But one of the F-16s has been completely wiped out by, it looked like a missile hit. It is now all by itself. And for variety's sake, let's go ahead and keep an eye on these Wraiths. Or at least, let's watch this Wraith as we go ahead and get into things. Once again, a thank you to Max for letting me know I can change the fighter camera mid-flight like that. Very useful. See this Wraith moving in, doing an interesting maneuver there. F-16 doing its darndest, trying to avoid. However, it's proven it is just not as maneuverable as these Wraiths are, and it certainly doesn't have the forward firepower that the Wraiths do. Those two 30mm cannons are definitely going to put the hurt on if they manage to connect. And we have 30mm fire streaming in. Two distinct trails of bullets from both of those guns. They are traveling at slightly different speeds, which should mean that they arguably could be... Oh, and this person has named their gun weapon the Slug Throwers. Well, I would definitely say that. They're 30mm. Those are some big bullets. Definitely larger than the 20mm cannons that are common on most aircraft in the U.S. arsenal. And a very nice turn in by the Wraith here. Whoa! A very near collision, almost by that other Wraith. Well, I mean, if they're already dead, I guess it doesn't really matter. So, we do have gunfire coming in, that 4 F-16 flipping out, not being very solid, and a very, very clean hit and kill by that second Wraith, meaning that the Wraith is your winner for this, the third of the round of 8. Let's go ahead and get into the 4th round to see what we have in store for you all there. So here we are with the second pair of aircraft deployed for the final of the round of 8. We have the XF-43C Soaring Eagle sent in by none other than Mecha Meme, a fairly interesting newcomer to the competition scene, at least on this side of things, as far as I'm aware. So let's go ahead and take a look at this thing. It is using the very small J10 cockpit. Not bad. Nice inbuilt intake, so you don't have to worry about that as much when you're building your aircraft. Always a nice thing. Running with the stereotypical, at this point, 2 Mauser 30mm makes gunfights much shorter, but also much more interesting and tense. Looks to be a very, very light aircraft, running with 6 missiles, which is the bare minimum. Powered by 2 Product 30 NMB style engines, again custom modified with my own tweaks and such from the pack here, from the mod pack. And it is running with 6 standard missiles. Let's see what we've got. We've got standard AIM-9 Sidewinders here, and AIM-9X, so they've got a mix of both. As well as 2 AIM-120D missiles, the slightly better version of the AIM-120s in the pack. Also, a single air brake, and looks like a lot of effective control surface here, especially in the rear. I imagine this plane should be quite maneuverable. Also, wing surfaces over here looking to be quite formidable as far as hit points and defenses and such. Look at that, even more. Using the advanced canard pieces here for more control and more sleekness. Always a nice thing to see from people. Also, we can see clipped in here, but not any kind of a bad thing. We've got an SAS module there. Pretty good. Looks to be, I imagine, an interesting showing from these aircraft, especially with that extra engine power. So let's go ahead and get on over to Team B. And here on Team B, we have the Omega Type 6. You may be familiar with that designation, the Omega, if you've been watching the last few episodes here of FJRT. This aircraft is sent in by TA Echo. A vast improvement upon her previous designs, actually. And yes, it is her, one of the few ladies we have competing in the tournament. It's always nice to get the fairer gender and fairer sex to participate. A bit of a sausage fest, most of these are, so it's nice to have a breath of fresh air. First thing I noticed when I looked at this thing was that, yes, for the first time, somebody is using the aviation lights, which are in the mod pack. Yes, they're tiny little parts. They add very little other than aesthetic, and, I mean, look at this beautiful kind of ultraviolet purple color lights. I happen to know when the AI pilot is functioning, the lights actually change to a pulse, like a double pulse of light, which is very cool. Very, very nice. I'm a big fan of that. Also running with what looks to be a single BK-27 Mauser, and the reason for that is back here. The sharp-eyed of you may have already spotted it. It's carrying a 50 cal turret for that extra distraction in the rear, which proved to be quite effective for the Parallax in its fight against the Sum plane. Thank goodness it's dead and will not be haunting anybody's nightmares anytime soon. Either way, this thing is running with 2 Saturn engines as opposed to any NMB engines. I always like that I see either or being mixed there. It means that the NMB tweaks that I put out make them actually a choice between what kind of performance you're looking to get out of your aircraft, which is the whole frickin' point. So let's go ahead. It's got, here we Yep, those PL-10 missiles. Good, solid, quite effective heat-seeking missiles in the pack. A lot of people are using them. Again, the fact that people are having options and using different things is always nice. And the cheeky TV Banshee air-to-air missile will prove to be interesting to watch as always. Very distraction-heavy missile, but very slow, making it an easy target for any anti-missile missiles, which I am recommending everybody put at least 1 or 2 of those, specifically to target enemy missiles and projectiles on their aircraft. So, what else does this aircraft feature? Well, a lot of power in the control surfaces back here, very durable wing surfaces, many different tweaking for control and other things, as well as looks like a backward intake here for some reason, maybe just to smooth that out, I'm not really sure. And it's got some Mark II SAS modules, reaction wheel systems, which are perfectly fine. They're not clipped in, they're not in some weird place. Makes perfect sense. I like this aircraft. It looks very nice. It is, I think, the smallest out of any of Echo's submissions so far, I think. I could be wrong with that, but it's very small, and it looks quite deadly, especially with those self-powers in the front for that extra power when it comes to turning and authority. So, enough blabbering from me. Let's go ahead and get these 2 beastly-looking aircraft into the air for round 1. And we are now back for round 1 between these aircraft, about ready to get them in. Kaz Kerman again being a little camera shy. Not quite sure what's causing that. It might just be because of the cockpit and the fact that a little weird in the watchtower. Either way, I'm sure he's watching somewhere, maybe on a smartphone or tablet or something. They have those in the Kerbal universe, right? Well, I think they do. I mean, hey, they can manage to get manned missions out into the far reaches of their solar system. And what's the best we've got? The moon? I mean, alright. Admittedly, moon travel is pretty cool, and Kerbals seem to be very resilient little buggers who can go for long periods of time without a lot of various life support systems. Makes me think they're plant-based or something. All they need is some water and sunlight or something. Who knows? Might explain why they're green. Either way, competition is now starting between these two aircraft, and we have the Banshee missiles firing first from the Omegas. Kind of being a little lackadaisical in making their way over there. We have AIM-9Xs being fired into the ground without much, almost all of their missiles are being fired into the ground for some reason. That's a little strange. I don't know what's up with that. And they're firing their AIM-120s, which swing very wide. And this one's coming around. It might actually pull up and get a kill, maybe. At the very least, it's tracking quite nicely. Whoa! Almost a hit. All right, first missiles and more than that are done. Let's go ahead and look at these soaring eagles. I think I may have swapped just as something got a hit. And it did. There's some kind of missile impact over here against one of the Omegas. I didn't actually see it. It happened as soon as I switched aircraft. I'm almost certain that's a missile impact, however. Looks like both of these Banshee missiles are tracking on this soaring eagle, which means its ally over there is free to kind of do whatever it wants, while this one dances with the two deadly missiles. However, they seem to have lost their track, and definitely another missile hit over there. Only missiles make things explode into confetti like that. That other soaring eagle got blown up by a missile impact. This is now effectively a 1v1 fight now between the Eagles and the Omegas. Missile kind of streaking in. Looks like it's heading toward that Omega, which is on the ground. Not the kind of distraction the Eagle should be worrying about, honestly, you ask me. Looks like the AI pilot and everything else was taken out on that soaring eagle, but it still might potentially be of the distraction for the enemy here. Since this is effectively a 1v1, we're going to go ahead and get into fighter mode just to see what is going on. There was a missile tracking on this aircraft last I looked. And there it goes. Missile impact. Leaving, well, not a lot left here, actually. In fact, just as I switch again, another missile comes in. Yikes! These Omegas are definitely the last thing that Eagle saw. All right, well, we have a very quick Omega victory for round one. Let's get into round two. So, with a quick victory going to the Omegas for round one between these fighters, let's get them into the air for round two. I'm not really sure. It could theoretically go to either one of these aircraft for this second round if the Eagles are able to get in close. They did in fact get a kill on that Omega, so either way, it could potentially go to either fighter. They're both very capable. Both aircraft climbing into position now. You know, I gotta say, I do like the look of the Eagles a little better. It's just a personal thing. I tend to really like those forward-swept wings. There's nothing wrong with Delta wings, just that, you know, forward-swept wings look exotic and pretty. Even though in Kerbal Space Program, they don't work like they would in real life. So, again, we have those Banshee locks being done. But this time, we've got AIM-9s streaking in from long range from the Eagles instead of heading into the ground. Will the Omegas be able to deal with it? Looks like we had an impact of some kind, but it might have been a glancing blow. We did get an explosion from the AIM-9. We have another AIM-9 streaking in, and another direct impact. At least I think it's another direct impact. That's not good. That Omega really should be dead if it took that much missile damage. I think KSP is telling me it needs a restart. In any case, we have the Soaring Eagles zooming away off to the far side of the course here. This time, let's go ahead and watch one of the Omegas. Maybe we can try and find the one that was... Uh-oh, that means there's a kill. Yep, Soaring Eagle got mulched by something. I don't see any Banshees. I think that was a Banshee kill. Go take a look at the other Omega. Nope, this other Omega did in fact take damage from those missiles. Just wasn't really gonna show it, I guess. So this one's basically out, meaning this is effectively a 1v1. Once again, we'll get into fighter mode since it is now a 1v1 between these aircraft. Let's see if the Soaring Eagle can manage to bring it back. The F-15 Eagle, just about to unleash some awesome aircraft knowledge, but it seems like the Omegas wanted to get in the last point. In any case, we've had a very fast round of 8 here for FJRT, meaning that the winner of this fight is, in fact, the Omega Type 6. Anyway, I have been Kaz, and this has been Episode 7, Part 2. Tune in next time for Episode 7, Part 3, where we go through the semifinals and finals of Episode 7. And then, after that, all that's left is Episode 8. And then, move into the grand finale. Either way, I've been Kaz, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and happy building.